Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over 5 reasons why the Penn State Nittany Lions will make it to the College Football Playoff in the 2023-21 season. And as you know, this was a team that nearly made it last season. They were actually a top 10 team for the majority of the year. But either way, today we're going to be going over why they will take that next step and why they will make it to the College Football Playoff in the 2020 season. But nonetheless, once again, these 5 reasons will be in no particular order. But with that being said, let's look at your number 1 reason, and it's going to be the rushing core for Penn State. They returned both of their top running backs from 2019 in Journey Brown and Noah Cain. Both of these running backs were huge impacts on this offense. They were definitely, especially Journey Brown, he's probably one of the better players on this offense, if not the best. The deal also bring in a 4-star recruit in Kevon Lee, which he's going to be a big impact on this team, I'm sure, within the next couple of seasons, so watch out for his name. And then they also had 2 running backs, both their running backs, they combined for nearly 1,600 yards and 21 touchdowns last season. Journey Brown, he had just over 1,000 yards of rushing last season with 13 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Noah Cain was hanging right around that 500-yard marker with 8 touchdowns for him as well. So, yeah, this rushing core is looking really good for Penn State heading into 2020. They will likely have one of the better ones in the Big Ten, in my opinion. I mean, there's no doubt on that one, especially when you're returning both your running backs that combined for nearly 1,600 yards last season. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that this rushing core could make it all the way to 2,000 yards next season. They definitely could reach that marker. Nonetheless, moving into number 2, we got Sean Clifford, the quarterback. He had over 3,000 total yards last season. He was a great quarterback, one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten last season, actually. His last year was his first full season, so he really hasn't played a full season of starting action before last season. So, yeah, considering how inexperienced he seemed to have been going into 2019, he actually did really well. And he also had nearly 500 yards of rushing as well. So, yeah, he's definitely a dual threat quarterback. He had nearly 3,200 yards of total offense last season with 23 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And it would not surprise me a single bit to see Sean Clifford be a top 3 or top 4 quarterback in Big Ten next season either. I mean, he is a little bit inconsistent, but I'm sure, going into 2020, that will improve a ton, and we could see him being easily one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten and quite possibly the nation as well. Moving on to number 3, we got the recruiting for this team. And I've already talked about the recruiting a little bit. They've got a top 15 recruiting class according to 24/7 Sports. They also have the 3rd ranked recruiting class in the Big Ten. That's going to be big, especially when you're playing in Big Ten action. If you've got better recruiting classes than most other teams, you're already at an advantage there. Their average recruit rating is 0.896, so that's really excellent as well. And then also their top recruits, they do not have any 5-stars actually, but they've got a lot of high-end 4-stars, like their linebackers are coming in. Curtis Jacobs, he's a 4-star, .983. He is really close to being a 5-star, so you could definitely call him a high-end one. You could also argue that with tight end Theo Johnson coming in, also a 4-star, but his rating is really good, .967. Then we got more of a mediocre 4-star there with Enzo Jennings, but certainly he's going to be a great player for this defense. I mean, no doubt on that one. But yeah, he was a .938. And then also they bring in defensive tackle Cole Brevard, also a 4-star, .921. So yeah, they bring in 4 really great recruits for sure right there. And this defense looks like it's going to improve a ton heading into the next couple of seasons, as 3 of their top 4 recruits going into 2020 are on the defense. And once again, including linebacker Curtis Jacobs, Enzo Jennings, and then Cole Brevard. Yep, once again, the recruiting is looking really good heading into 2020. Moving on to your number 4 reason is going to be the offensive line for this team. They only lose 1 offensive lineman from the 2019 season in Steven Gonzalez. They are still a little bit inexperienced, but they do return about the entire line. Once again, last season, this line certainly wasn't the best offensive line in the Big Ten, but they certainly have got potential to improve a ton. Possibly, they got potential to be a top 5 offensive line next season in the Big Ten. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be true. But yeah, they had a better than expected 2019 season. After all, they lost a ton of talent after 2018, if y'all remember that. And so yeah, in 2019, this was a very inexperienced offensive line, if you'd say that. And of course, going into 2020, only losing 1 of their offensive linemen, once again, Steven Gonzalez. This team has a lot of potential, or this line has a ton of potential to improve a ton going into 2020. Moving on to your number 5, it's going to be James Franklin, and you can't not put him on this list. He has led this team to 3 11-win seasons in the past 4 seasons, and he's also won 2 New Year's Six Bowls in the process. He's a great recruiter. Obviously, over the past couple of years, he's had really great recruiting classes. As you know, this is a top 15 recruiting class heading into 2020. He also has a 56-23 overall record as head coach. And if you minus the season that he went 7-6, I believe, that was back in, I believe, 2014 or 15. If you minus that year out, I mean, James Franklin's got a really good record. So certainly, I think that James Franklin, I mean, he's definitely a coach that isn't talked about a whole lot, but he's definitely one of the better ones in the Big Ten. He also had 4 straight nationally contending teams. You can't forget about that as well. So yeah, this Penn State team definitely is in really good hands under James Franklin, and I'm sure as long as he's there, this Penn State team should continue to have nationally contending teams. With that being said, that about wraps up our 5 reasons why Penn State would make the college football playoff in the 2020 season. If you like this video, be sure to slap a like on it, subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But once again, thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Once again, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I will see you all later.